Welcome to our second session about security. So we all know that security is a very important pillar for the establishment of the blockchain and also Web3 technology. And today we are very honored to have two exciting talk regarding the security of the blockchain, from the protocols to the vulnerability discovery. Okay. So our first talk is from Professor Ghassan Karame. Okay. Professor Karame is currently a full professor of the computer science at RUB since November 2021. He leads the chair for information security. He is also a principal investigator in the CASA Cluster of Excellence and the director of the Host Ghassan Institute for IT Security. Previously, Professor Karame led the security research group at the NEC Labs in Germany. He holds a PhD from ETH Zurich, and his research focuses on decentralized and platform security. And he has contributed to numerous impactful research articles and holds over 100 patents in the US and the EU. So let's welcome Professor Karame.
All right. Thanks so much for having me here. It's really a pleasure to be here. My name is Gus. You can call me Gus. It's a very easy way to pronounce my name. And I come from Ruhr-Universität of Bochum in Germany. For those of you who are not aware what RUB is, RUB currently is probably one of the largest IT security hotspots in Europe, currently ranked maybe third or second in Europe, depending on the bean counting you like to use, and probably top 10 in security in the world. Today I want to talk to you about the trade-offs between scale and security of blockchain platforms. No? Yeah, super. Yeah, okay. Super. So basically, I think this has been said before, but a blockchain is not a single layer technology. That's something we already know, we've already established. Blockchain is simply a platform. No? And like many platforms, a blockchain has multiple layers. So typically you always have the network layer, and kind of, if you come from academia or research, unfortunately this is one of the most boring layers for all of us, so we don't look at it so much. No? Nevertheless, it's actually very important for security because this layer is responsible for delivering information to the nodes. Without this layer, nodes will have absolutely no idea what they're doing in the entire platform. On top sit more popular layers in our ecosystem. So typically you have a consensus layer. This is the layer responsible for reaching agreement or order on events. You have the smart contracts layer. That's by far the most popular layer. No? This was kind of what I would call blockchain 1.0. And then we started having all these L2 solutions, lightweight clients, bridges, and whatever. And now this is kind of what I would call blockchain 2.0. And now all of this is a platform. And blockchain is actually the entire thing. So discussing blockchain security is not something you can do in 20 minutes. Impossible, no? Because there's absolutely huge amount of information to keep up with. And if you want to do blockchain security properly, then you actually have to be skilled at network security, consensus layer security, software security, system design. You need all those skills together to be able to reason about the security of a platform. Why? Because if you just focus on one layer, suppose you come up with the most secure consensus layer in the world, your adversary will probably try to find other weaknesses in the platform. And your adversary will try to go for the other layers that are weaker. They don't care which layer to attack, they mostly care about getting profits from the system. You want to design a system that's super secure, you want to make sure that the entire system is secure. Now today, of course, I cannot discuss all of that. But I would like to discuss one thing of particular importance, which is also very recent work from us, is the relationship between scale and security. Something that has not gotten enough importance in the literature. And this actually focuses on the interplay and the intertwined relationship between the network layer and the consensus layer. So, a question to you. How do you think security plays with scale? So if you have a blockchain of 3 nodes and another blockchain, same technology, of 10 nodes, who do you think is more secure? Which one? The smaller one or the bigger one? Just show of hands maybe. Is the smaller one more secure? No. The bigger one more secure? Okay, 3 people say the bigger one is more secure. Actually, the precise answer is much more complicated than that. Let's take a look. So if you take a look at established ad hoc metrics to quantify security of decentralized platforms, we have this thing called the Nakamoto coefficient. Who knows about it? Who have seen this before? Okay. So Nakamoto coefficient basically tells you how many nodes have more than 33% of the power in a platform. Now, if it's a proof of stake platform, it means how many nodes have more than 33% stake. If it's proof of work, how many nodes control the majority of computing power? 33%. And if you take a look at, I don't know, Solana, which is super decentralized, has a Nakamoto coefficient of 29. Ethereum, which is by far more popular, currently on this website, is listed as a Nakamoto coefficient of 2. 2 is very bad for a decentralized platform. It means you need to control 2 nodes to control everything. 29 is better, not ideal. 129 is even better, and the more it gets is typically better. This is established folklore so far in the community. And that's actually the question that I told you. No? I asked you. I said, which one you think offers more security? Most of you leaned to blockchain B2. You told me, no, because the blockchain is bigger, that means it's harder to compromise, probably. And that's why this blockchain is likely to be more secure. There has been, and in this particular case, if you assume absolute uniform distribution of power, let it be stake, votes in a BFT system, or work or computing power in proof of work, if you assume that, then it's true that the Nakamoto coefficient of B1, you just need here 1 node that has 1/3 majority, is way less than the 2 nodes of B2. So here you need to control 2 or more nodes to compromise the system. So the answer, at least at high level, should say that B2 should be more secure. There has been, however, many security models in the literature. These people come from the crypto field or the theory field. And there has been so many advancements on modeling security of large decentralized platforms. They start with Bitcoin all the way to Nakamoto-style deployments. The latest models, all models say almost the same thing. They improve, extend the bounds, they come up with good bounds. But all the models come up, and this is the latest model by Dembo in CCS 2020, they tell you that the power of the adversary, which is the power to compromise a node, is bounded by some parameters, but depends on the delay in a network. And here the delay is in the denominator. Simple math tells you higher delays will give you lower bounds on the adversary, which means a more powerful adversary will break the system easily. Higher delays also means larger blockchains. Because if you take a look back, you expect the delays here of B2 to be way bigger than delays of B1. So we have 2 intuitions here. The first intuition is the folklore intuition, that a larger blockchain should offer more security, but our entire security field shows otherwise. It shows that a larger network tends to have more delays. More delays tend to weaken security. It opens actually much more room for attacks like selfish mining, like double spending, and much others. And so what do we do? And basically, we have these 2 opposing forces that nobody tried actually to reconcile before. And without the proper understanding of this interplay, you actually cannot categorize security of large systems. Now, this is precisely the answer, the question we try to answer in this talk. So I'm not going to bore you down, but for those interested, I'll just go in some details. You can just skip these slides, sleep if you want, and then we come back to the main results. One can easily augment existing security models that appear at top-tier venues with some notion of probabilistic corruption. So typically, security models assume that your adversary has some stake or has some computing power to overhaul the consensus layer. But they do not assume an adversary that can capture something at the network layer. Imagine now you can integrate probabilistic corruption of nodes inside your model, in the sense that an adversary can also control some nodes with little stake. What would happen? So this is what we would capture with this function f, which captures actually a probabilistic corruption model in any system. No? This is not new in any way. And now what our job is to actually plug f into the bound of Dembo, which is the tightest bound that exists in our community up to this stage. And of course, then what we can come up with is some probability that tells us, well, this model could be secure or not. It's not only about the fraction of compromised nodes, it's not only about the ability of the adversary to control stake, it's actually both. So you combine both together. No? And the math gets uglier. Yeah, so this is how ugly it looks like, but let me make it easy for you. That's actually a very easy binomial probability. This is actually the function of probabilistic corruption. This is the maximum bound of Dembo. Now together they give you something a bit more complicated, but you see delays here appear in both the denominator, but also in the numerator. So it's actually a very complicated function of delays. As delays grow, some things get better, some things get worse. And now we want to quantify precisely what for actual deployments. To be able to continue, me coming up with uglier formulas, one thing here does not depend on n. N is the number of nodes. Everything is parameterized almost with n, with some bounds on the adversary, but we suddenly have this delta, this delay. And we do not know how to model delays compared to n. We don't even know what is a delay and what is an upper bound on delays in existing systems. And it turns out that actually if you look at standard peer-to-peer systems, people have done a good job in the networking community. Almost always in gossip protocols, in decentralized platforms, delays grow logarithmically as the number of nodes increase. And typically it's some basic function a of log n plus b. No, it's O of log n. And you now ask, well, how can we be very precise? How can we come up with the precise A's and B's that govern delays in existing systems? And that's very easy. Just build one of the first simulators in the world that can capture 1 million nodes, plug in all the parameters of all these deployments, Cardano, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever, plug in exactly their parameters, and start quantifying and measure delays. No? So, this simulator did not exist, unfortunately. Now it does. There is a GitHub link for you to download and play with it. And this is the first simulator that exists now that you can play with millions of nodes. Try to see how the network behaves for different blockchains. And if you do that, if you reach this point, now this is time to wake up from the ugly math. If you reach this point and you do this exercise for all those concrete blockchain deployments, you actually get with a confirmation that everything is logarithmic, truly, but now the slope really depends on the actual deployment. Also, Bitcoin seems to have a very small increase of delays as the network grows. In systems like Ethereum Classic or Cardano, there is a much bigger, 40 times almost bigger increase in delays as the network grows. And now the question that comes is, why do we witness this? They are supposed to be kind of forks or clones or the same idea. There is no true ingenuity in, I would say, Cardano compared to Bitcoin. Then why is it the case? Well, it turns out that they all do similar stuff. They have similar leader election protocols. They have similar ad hoc, unreasoned choices of parameters, but they use different gossip layers at the network layer. And the gossip layers are the things that actually control delays. A gossip protocol is the protocol by which a peer-to-peer system is able to send information to the multitude of nodes that populate it. A simple gossip protocol to be the broadcast to all. I just sent information to all of you now, and that's very naive peer-to-peer 101. If I do that, probably delays are small, but overhead is super big. So these blockchains try to play on some trade-off between efficiency and scale. No? And they all deploy different protocols. And this is just 4 gossip protocols that are popular in existing deployments. I honestly do not know how to turn on the laser, and I don't want to mess up my slides, but if you take a look at A, this is Cardano. Cardano uses the oldest gossip protocol in the history of blockchain deployments. It's called advertisement-based. That was the original gossip protocol of Bitcoin as well. And there, I wouldn't send you information unsolicited. What I would do, I would just tell you, look guys, this is the hash of the last block, this is the hash of the transaction, and if you have not received it before, if you have not seen it before, if you're interested in it, you will explicitly ask me to send it to you. Then you say, please send it, and then I will send it. Now obviously, this is a very interactive protocol, and this interactivity actually adds delays. Monero is the naive gossip 101 that I told you, just direct push. So it's very wasteful of information because you receive the same information from hundreds of nodes, but your delay locally to receive a new information is really small. Ethereum goes for another ad hoc approach. So it's actually somewhere between Cardano and Monero. It says that for square root of n of my neighbors, square root of my neighbors, I'm going to do direct push. For n minus square root of n, I'm going to use the advertisement base of Cardano. Bitcoin today evolved from Cardano to use something called compact blocks. You just send headers, you never send the actual block information. No, and you can do that in the 2 forms of Cardano, so advertisement-based compact blocks or direct push compact blocks. These are just 4 systems. Now, if I add more, there are more gossip protocols that will pop up. But I would say these are fairly representative gossip protocols from, I don't know, the 1,000 plus blockchains that exist. Each of these have different delays, but it's exactly the same blockchain technology on top. Similar technology, similar leader election, similar smart contracts. Now, what does it mean? This is all good. What does it mean? It means that if you do actually plug in what this ugly math formula, and you plug in this logarithmic increase of delays, depending on the actual gossip protocol, you come up with something truly remarkable. Cardano, with some probabilistic corruption model, so if you say the adversary can corrupt nodes at probability, I don't know, 10% or 12% in this plot, you see that the security or probability of ensuring liveness and consistency in this platform increases as the network goes to 100,000 nodes, but then it suddenly drops because delays got so large that you lost security completely. So in Cardano, if you build a system today with the current parameters, and the system has 200,000 nodes, the network is insecure. A very restricted adversary can cause havoc. If you're deploying a system with 100,000 nodes, all looks good. No? You can do the same with all other platforms. And what you see here, I'm personally not affiliated with any of them, and I really have no stake at all. It's just pure academic science, and I'm not trying to make any advertisement for any of those. I think they're all equally the same to me. You see that Cardano has the lowest possible ability to scale with good security provisions. Not because it's Cardano, it's just because of the gossip protocols it uses. Ethereum Classic is not that better, slightly better. So Ethereum Classic, maybe the turning point is, I don't know, maybe 200,000 nodes, and then things go bad. The gossip protocols of Monero and Bitcoin allow them to scale really well and allow the people who think that blockchains scale health security to be right. When you use direct push protocols, and when you use protocols that achieve small delays, then you end up actually gaining more security as you scale. No, so kind of these are the findings, and what it shows is that this turning point depends on many factors. Of course, the block size, the timeouts, the block rates, they are super important, but the biggest impact comes from the underlying choice of the gossip protocol. No? And that means that if you really want to start a new startup now, and you want to come up with the next blockchain technology, beware what network layer protocol you use. Because it can actually really have a huge impact. No? Just to make things a bit more interesting, if you actually plug in these concrete security framework models with actual bounds of security established in the community, then you start seeing that for some platforms, known attacks, so known attacks are partial eclipse attacks, some selfish mining attacks, known attacks currently happening would compromise and violate consistency directly. And of course, I cannot use my cursor because I'm not sure how to do this, but if you take a look at this plot here, you have the dashed lines are the actual bounds on security established by theoretical models. These are bounds that delays should not increase. So if you are in a synchronous model, this is your bound on delay. If you are in a partial synchrony model, this is the assumed bound on all delays. If you take a look at the orange and blue plots, these are the actual delays exhibited in these systems. And you see that they really overshoot the bounds without even knowing what they're doing. No, and that's the worries us and many other researchers have. A small choice of parameters causes you to overshoot, you lose complete security in the system. Right. Oh, what did I do now? Right. So what are the key takeaways? You need to worry about every choice you make. Even the most boring of all layers, like the network layer, would cause a huge impact. And currently, it seems, if you do a small ablation study, it seems to have the biggest impact of all on security. No? There are good gossip protocols that we would recommend for platforms to use. I would either use the current Bitcoin gossip protocol, very well optimized, very well tested, looks good. Again, I'm not from the Bitcoin Foundation. Or I would use even the boring 101 direct push of Monero. It would still give you better security than any fancy ad hoc protocol that exists nowadays. With the compact block relays, this is BIP 152, we have sound results that says that you actually can maintain security of the platform even if the adversary has more than 47% probability to corrupt a single node in the system. This is really high. So typical Byzantine fault-tolerant protocols, typical distributed systems, they assume a corruption rate of somewhere between 2 and 15% per node, not more. So this is one issue I wanted to outline, no? And since we are all here kind of enthusiasts of blockchain, there is another issue that's much more practical that I also wanted to outline. You're going to see here in this forum and in many other forums of blockchain discussions, many people reporting issues and bugs in a platform. So somebody comes up with the latest attack on Bitcoin. Another person comes with the latest attack on Ethereum. And this is all cool, and this is super good. But the problem we have is that we currently in academia are required to only disclose our findings after Bitcoin has fixed the issue. No, so there are many papers with exploits. I will only disclose the findings after developers tell me, it's done. The question is, even if this is possible, many of our research does not directly affect only Bitcoin. There are thousands of other so-called altcoins or forks of Bitcoin that are deployed. And if you report a bug on Bitcoin, you probably have to double check that this bug has been properly fixed in all the other altcoins that existed in the world, which is actually impossible. I just want to give you a small empirical study of time to patch of very severe bugs in the literature so far. So these are, again, no laser, but these are really severe CVEs at the network layer. Severe. So severe that they will cause the network to halt directly. Two of those are actual, where is this? Two of those are actual papers by my group that stop instantaneously network communication. If you take a look at the time to patch, Bitcoin is actually really good, with an average of 7 days of patching of a bug, whether it be network layer, consensus layer, or smart contract layer. Now take a look at the same bug and look at other alternative coins that exist. Litecoin takes on average 114 days to patch. Dash, 188. Where's Monacoin? 503 days. So what does it mean for us in the security committee? It means that we are now disclosing and preaching and bragging about patches, about exploits, and allowing adversaries up to 500 days to exploit a given platform. No, and this is not a very easy issue to fix nowadays. How do you do proper disclosure? To whom do you disclose? How do you deal with the overlaps of technologies between all those platforms? It's something that we didn't have in legacy software, but we have to deal with it as a community in distributed systems now. All right, so this takes me to the conclusion of this talk. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't bore you too much with the math. Welcome any questions from your side. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Now we are open to any questions you have.
Thank you for the great talk. So I understand you focus on gossip. I assume it's the most network-heavy operations. So for PBFT-based protocol, what would it be? I mean, do you have a similar analysis for some gossip-related operation there or other operations?
So PBFT, this practical BFT for people that are not aware of it, this is a classical family of BFT protocols. They use star topologies. Right. So it's typically direct push of Monero. So the lowest possible delays at the moment, unless the network grows too much. I mean, for me, it looks good. You can always optimize.
So you think some similar results will likely happen here? Of course, their number of nodes is much smaller than...
Yeah. I mean, they are much smaller, but it scales well. I mean, just to show you, the Monero plot is the orange one.
Right.
So it's actually quite good to maintain 101 star. But if you want to do even better, I would go for BIP of the compact block relays of Bitcoin. Okay. If you really want to get that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. So, because you showed these 4 blockchains, right? So, but I'm more curious about the Ethereum 2.0 right now. What is the results going to be like in Ethereum 2.0? Because it's kind of complicated, right? It's a
Ethereum uses this hybrid push, which is what you see now in Classic. It's a similar gossip protocol.
You mean similar as the Ethereum Classic?
Similar. Not the same parameters, but similar.
So
It's just that for our security models, we currently focus mostly on proof-of-work-based systems. That's why it says Ethereum Classic. Ethereum's Classic is still proof-of-work. For Ethereum, which uses proof-of-stake, all of us in the community believe that Nakamoto-style models we have applies to proof-of-stake as well. But I'm not in a position to tell you this with 100% confidence. So I have a firm belief that our security models, not in our Oakland paper, but all other security models from Dembo and others, the bounds would apply equally to proof-of-stake deployments, but we're not so sure yet. It's so new, and the bounds, I mean, this is a moving target. We're still tightening our bounds. I expect similar conclusions, however, to occur for 2.0.
which means then the Ethereum 2.0 is now quite vulnerable, right? Because
It's not, or is it?
it's quite vulnerable because it's I think it.
I mean, Ethereum 2.0 has a bigger problem, in my view, which is the Nakamoto coefficient. You don't need an Oakland paper to just go to a website and it tells you Ethereum has a Nakamoto coefficient of 2.
Yeah.
So there is an issue of decentralization there at the moment, but yeah. No, these academic bounds would probably apply. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Very quick question about the last table you showed.
Yeah.
So thank you. So you mentioned that it takes on average 500 days to fix a bug in some of these other altcoins, right? Is that because they don't have enough developers, or they don't care, or and also maybe related to that, what is the community standard for responsible disclosure? Because in traditional security is 90 days, right? Is there such a thing here?
Right. Very good question. So I mean, the way these guys work is they do standard GitHub rebases. So they don't have the know-how, obviously, to understand the parameters of proof of work or whatever. So they rebase on Bitcoin Core. They do something, I don't know what it is, and then every X days they rebase again. That's their standard mode of operation. It's just that here there was a 500 days in between where they didn't rebase in Monaco coin.
So they're just being lazy. They could have rebased it, but they chose not to, is it?
Yeah, and they don't, again, rebasing is not the entire code.
Okay.
So they typically rebase much faster. I don't know, smart contracts layer or EVM directly is rebased. Network layer is so boring for them.
I see.
And this is only network layer. Okay. So I think this could be an issue because they don't understand the repercussions. But to answer your second question, our standard disclosure protocol nowadays says it's something very easy. You can submit your academic work and say, oh, yeah, I'm attacking this and this. You need to have a proper ethical disclosure saying you contacted developers, you gave them enough time to fix it. What is enough time? So far, we've assumed an embargo of up to 6 months.
I see.
And then we would publish. The question that I asked was, how would this process in our academic work apply to reality? Because it's really hard. I mean, I know that Monacoin now is slow, let's say. But there are 1,000 other altcoins that I could not study. And now the question is, how do you contact them? And who do you tell? And no, that's the question we were discussing also before.
All right, okay, thanks.
Okay, due to the limited time, if you have any questions, feel free to approach Professor during the lunchtime or tea break. Let's thank Prof. Karame again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.